Breaking news, we're getting reports that a plane with over 100 people on board has crashed into a building in the Docklands area of London. Now this looks terrifyingly real, but this is in fact an exercise. It's been laid on by the London Fire Brigade. It's the biggest of its kind, and the idea is to test the response of the emergency services to a full-scale catastrophe.
It's unconscious. Breathe in.
This Hollywood-style disaster set took the fire brigade 4 weeks to build and involved a huge amount of planning. 400 tons of rubble, hundreds of actors and an actual plane, a 28-ton Boeing 737. So the idea is that a plane has crashed into this building. It's left this trail of destruction. There are casualties everywhere. And the challenge for the emergency services is how they prioritise their response to this incredibly complex scenario.
I think the first issue we're going to have is traffic and getting people out on the site.
Entrance, 100 metres by the river.
At the back of the building and in control of the exercise is London Fire Brigade Commander Andy Rowe. Andy, what's the scale of all of this?
Well, in terms of the response we've got here now, you're looking at fire and rescue service personnel just over 200. In terms of London Ambulance, we're looking at in excess of 120. Police personnel, just under 100, and so a fairly major effort from everyone.
Fire, ambulance and police services normally train separately, but in a major incident like the 7/7 bombings, they have to work together. So today's exercise tests their ability to do just that, whilst under immense pressure. None of the emergency services taking part knew in advance what to expect. All of the decisions have to be made on the spot as the crisis plays out. So at the moment, the guys are just trying to assess what's going on. They're counting the casualties, trying to work out what's happened.
Do you know if it's terrorism or it's a bird strike? We've got approximately 12 casualties on the side. Set up your triage area here. We're making a pathway to actually lead out the walking movement.
Anyone that you can bring to here and I'll redirect them over there.
These are huge resources you're deploying. How do you justify that cost?
The public would expect us to be prepared if we have to deal with such a major incident. And really, there's no way to test it without having all the resources here. You either play it for real or you don't.
Yeah. I want to know if there's people in the water.
He's looking for casualties in the water. You can see the tail section of the aircraft under the footbridge.
The tail section of the plane has broken off into the dock and there are passengers in the water waiting to be rescued. In the midst of this confusing scenario, the rescue crews are given incorrect information on the location of the casualties, leaving them in the water for over an hour. I have to say, some of the guys who were in the water were in there for quite a while. Now, would that be realistic?
Well, normally we would hope not. There's always improvements to be made when we run an exercise of this size. They've been told they're in the docks. They've taken their best guess at that point. And here we've got a very, very large expanse of water across a number of docks. They've gone to a location where they think they can access the water, and unfortunately at that point, that judgment wasn't the right place for access. They've had to redeploy to get where they need to be.
As the water rescue unfolds, the survivors are being treated. And this is the so-called triage area. This is where the casualties are brought, they're assessed, and they begin to give treatment here.
Hi guys, what have you got?
24-year-old female.
Yep.
She's got impalement on the right leg.
You're allergic to penicillin. Going to give you something for the pain, okay?
Just relax it.
The London Ambulance Service takes the lead in this area. So Jason, how does this compare to a real-life situation?
They're made up, they've got fake injuries if you like, they've got makeup on there, they're screaming and they're making the kind of noises that people involved in this type of incident would do.
There's no question it's very realistic, but the truth is that everybody knows this is pretend. I mean, do they learn from these kind of things?
The paramedics are using their training to respond and treat the injuries they see. It's real, or as real as you can make a training scenario.
The first phase of the exercise is drawing to a close. The training will continue for a further 2 days. But what have they learned so far?
We've seen that people perhaps haven't got things right all the time, but we've managed to pick up on those already and started to log them. So from our point of view, we've done what we set out to do, which is to give our crews something complex, challenging and realistic to deal with, and for them to learn the lessons out of that.
The next challenge is to tunnel through into the building. What the team don't know is what's waiting for them inside. When they've tunnelled through the hundreds of tons of rubble, this is what they're going to find. The fuselage will be packed full of casualties. The teams are going to be working 24 hours a day to sort this lot out.